Okay. Um, hey everyone, my name is Ha. I'm super excited to welcome you in for this info session around our SnapCamp bootcamp. Just a bit of context. I've been in tech, Silicon Valley for 25 years, for 16 years as a product leader, product exec, about 6 months ago, I was starting to feel like I was falling behind in my knowledge around AI. As we all know, it's moving faster than any of us have the brain cycles to process. And I really wanted to get hands on building something. Around that same time, Kasim, my friend of 5 years, messaged me and said, "Hey, I'm hosting this first inaugural boot camp, and you're connected to a bunch of product leaders. Would you be willing to share this LinkedIn post?" And it caught my eye, and we grabbed coffee, and I asked him what this was all about. And anyways, I signed up for the first boot camp. I also got my business partner to sign up. It blew me away. In less than 3 weeks, I was able to ship like a dream passion project that I had marinating in my head for a few months out in the wild, and I gotten customers to use it. I've even gotten a chance to monetize it. Since then, I've been involved in the next four boot camps, kind of as a chief evangelist ambassador. I've gotten a ton of my friends into the boot camp, and everybody has had such an amazing experience. So today, the format is as follows. Kasim is, I'm going to turn it over to Kasim in a bit, and he's going to just share 10 minutes, sort of the overview of the boot camp and how it's run. We'll answer any questions, and then we're going to go into some demos. So Daniel and Susan just wrapped up the latest boot camp, and they're going to demo their products and share a little bit about their experience, and then we're going to open up to Q&A. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my friend Kasim.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I'm gonna share my screen, but before I do this, all of this would not be possible without her and her support. She literally just opens up her network to everyone, and that was her project as well. And it's like the first bootcamp we did, we didn't like we were all getting to know how to run these, and how was super supportive. Garrett was super supportive. Now, like 4 cohorts in, 5 cohorts in, it's like phenomenal how far we've come, but also how far the projects have come. Like they've gotten better and better over time. So it's pretty incredible. So let me quickly maybe spend 10 minutes on this and answer a couple of questions if anyone has them, and then we'll get into the demos. So, a little bit about me. I'm the founder of a company called Remote Base. We help US companies hire remote software engineers. We've screened through over 350,000 engineers on our platform over the last 5 years. We also started running a venture studio, and that's how SnapDev sort of came about. Now it's spinning off as a separate entity. We're fundraising right now. Um, doing that, my co-founder is Deb, who Carmen would also probably know. So Deb has joined us as a full-time co-founder. She has like tremendous experience, built Facebook Marketplace, was previously the CEO of Ancestry.com, and now she's done the corporate, she's done the CEO. Now she wanted to take a product from zero to one, was part of a boot camp. Ha introduced us, and she's joined as a co-founder. And yeah, so she's full-time working with us now. So before I get into the bootcamp, why did I feel like it was even important in the beginning? Because in our first cohort, almost everyone, I think except Garrett, had tried these prototyping tools and failed to ship real products. Because building the front end, building the UI is super easy, super simple. Any tool can do it. There's like a million tools that can help you do it. But when you start building the backend, and when the project starts getting more and more complicated, that's when people get stuck. That's why the churn for these products is between 50 to 80, 30 to 80% month on month. Because when people get stuck, there's not much they can do about it. So for us, the real magic comes in, because we not only combine vibe coding, but we also have like a community. And most importantly, customer support engineers. So if you get stuck, you can ping someone, and and an engineer will hop on a call with you and help you out, which I feel like is a complete game changer. I thought each project across these boot camps would take like 15, 20, 25 engineering hours. It ended up taking less than five, which was pretty surprising because you don't need that much support once you know how to use the tools, but you do need to get unblocked when you really are stuck somewhere. And we found this combination to be pretty incredible. So, what is SnapCamp? It's 3 weeks. You go from an idea all the way to a functional product, usually at least one or two completely functional features. And we combine vibe coding with one-on-one engineering hours and our community. Plus, we also have a daily stand-up just for accountability so that we can hop on a call and show each other our projects, what we're working on. And that sort of combination has really, really worked well for us. Um, so much so that we have results in for the last three. There's one cohort missing that didn't fill out the form, but we have results from the other three cohorts. Cohort one, we had 100% ship rate. Cohort two, we had 83%. Cohort two had some kids as well and a very diverse audience. Cohort 3, we had 88% ship rate. NPS score has consistently been higher than 80. And yeah, in the last cohort, we had 100% people that had no prior coding experience. So even if you don't, we get this question a lot, like if I've not had any coding experience, can I still push to production? So the answer is yes, you can, and we will help you through every step of the way. So how it works, which I've sort of highlighted, is we all gather together at 8 a.m. Pacific time. Some of these are sessions. We tell you how to use the tools. Some of these are engineering hours, while others are pod sessions where you speak to your mentor. We divide each in each cohort, we make pods of 5 to 6 people, so you have a mentor, you can discuss it with them. So we have like varying sessions, but they start every day for 1 hour from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And the reason for that is so that there's accountability and there's like a daily ritual that we follow, which has again worked really, really well for us. And then you have access to our live engineering support, which you can tap into at any time. So we have engineers available around the clock. You can schedule calls with them, or you can talk to them instantly through chat. We have our Slack community, which has not only your cohort but all the past cohorts, and you can like post and ask anything channel or share your projects and basically engage with the community. And then lastly, we have our AI coding assistants. So everything is built on our platforms, but we have these AI coding assistants that can help you ship your project. So we have like a backend builder that will build the backend for you. We have a PRD refiner that refines your PRD document. So a bunch of different agents that will help you build your projects. Um, so we have a front end. So we have our own products that you can use. The reason we use ours is we also use the most popular AI coding assistants, open source available. They're called Klein and Rue Code, but we've built our own agents within them to make it super simple to go from idea all the way to product. So that's why we use ours, and now we're consolidating and constantly improving these. So this has really helped people ship projects because they can build the front end first and then the back end and use the agents that we've built for them. So yeah, that's pretty much an overview of what SnapCamp is. It's going to be 3 weeks. We will have 3 days off for Thanksgiving, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of that week. And then it starts November 13th, which is Thursday, 8 a.m. Pacific time every day. To register, this is the link. Please register by today. We have extended the discount. So if you use early 500 instead of paying $2,000, you'll pay 1495 or $1,500. And it comes with 5 hours of one-on-one engineering time. So each of you gets like 5 hours. We even let it go above 5 hours. We've never charged anyone extra during the bootcamp for these hours. We but we push to limit it for 5 hours so that you can also learn how to use these tools and maximize the amount of work you can get done even after the cohort is over. And then we have $400 in LLM credits. We use Claude mostly for most of the work that we do. And then there's over 10 hours of live sessions that happen during this cohort. Much more than 10 hours. 10 hours is just the 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. But then we also have like the one-on-ones and the office hours and all these other sessions that happen. Um, so I think that pretty much is about the bootcamp. I would pause there and would, if anyone has any questions, I'd love to answer them and then would love to see demos from, Daniel and Susan.
Hey,
Questions?
Carmen here. I'd love to hear from Daniel and Susan and others, like how much time you're spending outside of the boot camp to really make, really get something out of this, especially for folks who are sitting in roles.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Daniel, do you wanna?
yeah. So for myself, I was spending 2 to 3 hours a day, but to me, I was spending the exact same amount of time I was trying to build this on my own. So it was a wash, except for the fact that I had all this expert support and community surrounding me, because I couldn't get it to work in any other platforms. So it really was very encouraging to spend a Saturday by myself and really make significant progress. Um, so I did take one quiet Saturday for kind of a workshop day. But yeah, I would spend 2 to 3 hours a day.
For me, and that's a great question, Carmen, kind of feeds into the app that I built. I'm very big about time blocking because I'm always juggling different things. So in the first kind of week and a half, actually outside of the cohort, I only had like 2 or 3 kind of mini sessions, really to kind of meet the milestones that they set in the cohort. It wasn't until the last week that I had some deep dive, like, 3 to 4 hour kind of chunks. So maybe like 40 hours total, 40 to 50, because I just wanted to get things done.
40 to 50 in total.
Yes. And I would say like 80% of that was the last week. And
Okay.
I think anyone can be successful, 8 to 10 hours with the time. It just depends on how inspired you are to do more.
Sure.
Yeah.
And for both, sorry, I was just saying, for both of you, had you done other boot camps prior to this one? Okay.
No, I wasn't aware of any boot camps. I had just strictly picked up all the different products on my own, from all the recommendations from my LinkedIn network. But then Ha's in my LinkedIn network. So this was a recommendation too. So I jumped in. But I will say, I think Susan did an outstanding job in maximizing the utilization of the groups. I did not use that much one-on-one support. I really tried to do it on my own, which led to my own personal frustrations. But she really leveraged the community, and I'll do that going forward. But yeah, take advantage of there's no time consideration. So just take advantage of it. Get it scheduled and meet the milestones. And if you don't understand, ask.
Yeah, from my experience, so I probably spent like 1 or 2 hours like every other day because when I took it, I happened to be on vacation in Europe, thinking that I would have all this extra time in the evenings in the hotel room to vibe code and build my product, and it turns out that I was exhausted at the end of the day. My business partner, who I mentioned, also took the boot camp. He was spending 4 or 5 hours a day. He never leveraged any engineering support. I would say the big difference is how feature rich do you want your product when you go live? So for me, I really feel like I built an MVP version of my product and I continued to work on it even past the bootcamp. But there were many of my bootcamp participants who built like full-fledged products, multi-layered features. Some of them were ambitious enough to build multiple products in the boot camp, but then they spent a lot more hours. And so I think it's really a function of like how much do you want to learn and persist on your own without phoning a dev, and how feature rich do you want to be by the end of the boot camp. So
And I'll add that for me, because my background's in product and tech as well. And so for me, it's really, I needed time to reflect and think through, it's like singing in the shower. So I actually found it beneficial to take a breaks early on because I had it's like the world is your oyster and there's so much that you can do. I actually needed to step away and just like think in my head, yeah, kind of what's the most important thing that I want to kind of bring to life. Yeah, and then once you see that happening, I think it's easy to, you know, get the flywheel going and wanting to invest more time.
Yeah. I'll also add like so I think in the last cohort, like things were like super smooth, even in the one before that. So one thing that we kept on highlighting during the cohorts is like you can always build on top of whatever you've built, but don't start with a million features. And I think that is key, like thinking through, like Susan said, what you want to build and just taking it piece by piece rather than coming up with like a product with 100 features and then you're stuck because you can't get any of them to work, versus you start off with two main features and then you keep building on top of that. I think that has worked really well, and then in that sense you don't end up spending 10 hours a day because you have to finish so many things. You just can incrementally continue one feature after the other.
Well, let's get into the demos because I'm super excited to see the demo. So, Susan, why don't we have you start and then we'll get Daniel's.
All right. Okay. So let me share my screen here. Okay. And I will add, just for context, my goal for the cohort, I don't really use a lot of AI at all. Actually, I don't use ChatGPT. I use Granola for meetings, but really don't do any kind of active prompting. So really, I just wanted to understand the extent of what could be possible using SnapDev. So welcome to Bax, my big ass kitchen sink, a visual organizer to help you make progress on what matters the most and let go of the rest. So it's an organizer toolkit that combines kind of North Star tracking with eco-cycle mapping and time blocking. Essentially, this was me 2 years ago, kind of at the height of my kind of transitioning from like product full-time to doing consulting. I was caregiving for my mother. I had 2 young puppies. I was trying to juggle a lot of wear different hats. And so to make sense of my kitchen sink, essentially across life and work, I came up with this visual time blocking calendar. And I would manually kind of block my time, color code it, and at the end of the week, do some reflection of understanding where in the kind of eco-cycle phase, you know, what was I welcoming in, talking a lot about, and what was I actually kind of like trying to figure out in terms of the messy middle. It was a lot. It helped me, but it was a lot of manual work. And so last year, 2025, I didn't do any of this. And I feel like I kind of hit that tipping point where I'm just like so stressed. I need something. And so I brought to life this canvas. This app itself, I can invite you if you wanted to join. It's at bax.us. It's fully enclosed. You can create your accounts. I'm going to sign in with Google here. And let's say you're starting from scratch. To get started, it's a 5-step process. Choose your North Stars. What are the things that themes that you want to make progress on? Maybe it's flow, rejuvenation. You pick those themes. And then you can set your baseline. So let's look, over the last week or just in general, what do you spend most of your time on? You can import activities from Google Calendar, and you'll see, there's a lot of, this is part of the kind of dev environment, things that you have to kind of click through, but essentially it's fully functioning integration with Google Calendar. You can see my 23 calendars and pick what you want to import in. At the same time, you can also manually just add activities. So I have a couple things here. I added some SnapDev accountability and so on. You can pre-pick from a list. I also wanted to test the kind of AI tools. So the third step here is, okay, bring in my activities. Let's analyze my baseline. I actually have 2 methods here. One is just keyword based versus AI powered using Gemini Flash. I'm going to just click on analyze. And it's going to analyze my activities against my North Stars and the eco-cycle phases. So you can provide a visual. There's an intermediate step. You can also verify your results because you know that AI is not always accurate, but I'm just going to hit continue. But essentially, this is your initial kind of pulse check. When you look at my time, how much is spent allocated to my North Stars, how much time is kind of allocated to the different phases of the eco-cycle. So this is just kind of the getting started flow. The main app is actually, this is the eco-cycle, the visual canvas. So where you can, this is where a lot of my time went, kind of creating this drag and drop kind of sticky interface. A lot of people might use Mural or a different app. I just wanted a simple kind of HTML version where you can kind of bring things and map things in this way. There is also a timeline tool, so you can take a snapshot of understand how your activities move over time. So this is the eco cycle. The time blocking comes into play. This is the digital version of this original canvas. So actually, this is what I created first, where you can move things around. These are all time like allocations that you can map according to your North Stars. And then when you look at your insights, it will help you understand how much time are you allocating towards your different North Stars. And so that essentially is kind of my big ass kitchen sink. The other component I'll just add is I did include a fully functioning admin system. So one of my goals for this is if I wanted to, as a next step, invite people, demo it, get feedback, I wanted to be able to manage accounts. So this was kind of the other kind of full feature that I pushed, where I can like customize language, colors without having to rebuild the system. I can see my users. There's delete history, just again, me testing out GDPR kind of compliance and things like that. So at the end of the day, I actually utilized, I think $350 of my $400 credits. And yeah, that's my big ass kitchen sink.
And Susan, I think firstly, this is like incredible because it's super complicated, was super complicated to build. I think you utilized the most credits out of, I think it's probably the most. So people end up using between 200 to 300.
So if you're curious what you can do with your credits, I did all the authentication. Email actually works if you forget your password. Again, I wanted it fully functioning so people could just manage their own accounts without any assistance from me. Yeah, Google Calendar integration, and then AI and keyword analysis.
Super impressive. Any how was your experience? Any feedback in terms of the overall experience? Like, you know, what worked and what could have gone better, or what did you learn about yourself?
Well, I say one of my North Stars is just honoring the ebb and flow of life and thinking about space, pace, and grace. And so what I found most valuable actually was the one-on-one support. Essentially, it was 24/7. So I could, even though if the goal for the general cohort was, okay, by Wednesday, please have your, front end connected to your back end. I had something else going on during the week. I didn't have time, but I could just go ahead and set a time block, book a one-on-one with an engineer in advance, like for Friday night. And they would jump on a call, and essentially they were not actually like doing my work, but almost like a coaching buddy to help me understand how to use the tool. And altogether I had 6 sessions. I was going through and auditing. And I felt that was the most important tool actually, and the Ask Anything channel, so that you can, yeah.
Yeah, we have a private community, a Slack channel, so you can always hop on either a call with an engineer, or you can ask your question in the Ask Anything channel. And there's not just engineers there, but there's mentors, there's current and past bootcamp participants, and everybody wants to chime in to help. So awesome. Carmen, you had a question for Susan?
Yes. Since you have the product background, how was your sort of that planning phase, design phase for you in this versus what you've done in the past? And I know Cousin mentioned that there are tools in with SnapDev, and did you use those?
Yes, so I was a last minute sign up because I saw your post, I think back in August, and I was very hesitant because of my own time. I was thinking I do not have time to meet every day at 8 a.m. And then again, there's this tipping point where I'm thinking, but I would love to just figure out this tool so I can start to time block the way I want to time block. And so I just jumped in, and that first day there was an ask, please drop your PRDs in this channel. And I was like, oh my God, like, I don't have a PRD. And I know maybe some folks use ChatGPT, and it's SnapDev, the tool can work with whatever you have. And so at the end of the day, I just like spent, like an hour just kind of jotting some notes down. And that was enough to get started. I did have questions like, how perfect does this need to be? It got varying answers, but at the end of the day, it's really about iteration. Just jump in, the tool will bring it to life, and it's very intuitive.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Susan. That was incredible. And now we're going to shift over to Daniel. So Susan is product leader. Daniel is a founder. And I know he has been wanting to bring this idea to life for quite some time and finally made it happen.
Yeah. So I do have a product background too. I've spent 22 years in Walmart supply chain operations and tech. And so I put together very large enterprise applications. But for myself, this is something extremely meaningful. I lost my mother when I was 8. And I struggled for about 35 years listening to stories of her because people were looking to me to validate that moment. And I couldn't because I didn't know her. Last year, about this time, we found out my wife has pancreatic cancer. And so she has a niece left. And part of the story in this journey is, how do we preserve those family memories in a safe space that allows storytelling and personality and wisdom, and maybe answers the question we all want to know after 20 years is, who is that stranger in this picture? We've all got those family photos, but somebody doesn't recognize somebody in a family photo. So how do you put all of those memories together? And that's what I've been trying to build on my own for the last 6 months. And I've used 7 different tools, but so far, my relationship with SnapDev so far has been the best experience, because it's also taught me the things I didn't know about software development. But I've built an app based on everyday storytelling. We're not trying to get crazy with it. We're just trying to build out timelines of events so that when you mix your family together, you get one rich timeline. And certainly the roadmap for this allows us the opportunity to build digital embodiment. But the purpose of our MVP and our goal for this holiday season is just to allow members and family members to create memories. And so this is our dashboard. In the top left-hand corner, you can only be invited to families. So the first user is usually the family admin, and then you've got your additional families. And so you can sort and filter, because when you realize, or when you think about it, you're a member of a lot of families. I'm a member of my father's family. I'm a member of the family I created. I'm a member of Amy's family. I'm a member of Jasmine now that she's married. I'm a member of the Griffiths family. So I will tell you, one of the problems or opportunities I had was the data organization and the linking between all that craziness to keep up with all of those families. One of the new features we implemented since SnapDev ended last Friday was we've updated our prompts. So it's now a little bit more AI generated, and it's also age based. So it's looking for questions about your personality and about your timeline. And it's thinking about all the different things that you could have done in certain points or periods. And so it's asking a more specific question. And so today's question, where's the farthest place from home I went as a kid? So you could respond or share a memory down here in the corner. You can just type it in. You can attach a photo. You can record a video. I did put in an AI layer in production that transcribes this video for us to get that text, or you can just record an audio session. So think about your opportunity on a mobile device. You can do all of those things now, and we'll record and save them. You can also save a draft and recover a draft. So yes, so creating this opportunity or creating this memory is pretty easy. If you need a little bit of help writing your story, you can always enhance it with a little AI magic. Um, but yeah, this is a story I recorded this morning, where we went to putt-putt golf. We rode our bikes. It was about 5 miles away from the house. And so we did it every Saturday morning. It was awesome. You can add it to an album. So when I think about different places I've been, Columbia, British Columbia, or maybe our wedding, my brother's got an album out here, just family album, random photos, headshots. You can add it to it. Or if it's just something that you want to keep private, you can mark it private. So our big opportunity was just being able to combine all of these family experiences into one timeline. So Amy loves sea glass. We went to Hawaii this past summer, and she had a friend that went to the beach, Virginia Beach, about a month ago. And so she brought back some sea glass, and so Amy did some artwork with it. For my nieces who will never know what a concert ticket looks like, I uploaded some of my favorites. But yeah, just keeping it really simple. You can react just like anything else. You can comment. And then feature here on the comment, you could record a video or an audio message. All of that audio and video, along with your text, will later be used to help build out a digital persona of yourself so that we'll never truly lose, hopefully, some of that voice, that who you are through this process. Here's my brother's, some of his favorite headshots of jobs he's had: pastor, storming the beach at Normandy, usually a normal Saturday frustration of coaching the Arkansas Razorbacks. So, yeah, it's a pretty great experience in 2.5 weeks. So, to invite other family members, it's just as easy as clicking a button. There is no connections, right? We're not recommending connections. Everybody is invited. So, it's a very secure and safe private area for you and your family to build out. And then on next week's roadmap, we're going to add a little box over here below albums called recipes. And so as we head into the holidays, we all have those favorite family recipes. Now you'll be able to stash them and store them too. And that's the family journal.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. And I feel like I'm ready to use it. So let me know when you open it up to others.
Yes, ma'am.
This amazing. Um, so I think what we could do is we can take some questions from the audience, or any more questions, and then what we'll do is if Kasim will kind of share like how to sign up if you're ready to sign up for the next and very last boot camp of the year. So
Yep. So let me quickly share the link that I had in our presentation as well. Just and the coupon code so you can get $500 off. So this is the link. We're doing it on Maven this time for the first time. Before that, we did it off of Maven. And then we also have this discount code that I've pasted in chat that you can use to get $500 off. But it's going to be transformational, so that much I can guarantee. So we were getting like 80 plus NPS for a reason, because of all the support that you get. It's not a boot camp where you come in and there's one person and there's like 100 people that they're teaching. It's a lot of one-on-one support that that we offer to make sure ideas go all the way to production. Awesome. Anyone has any questions?
I have a couple questions if we have time.
Yes.
So like Daniel, well, both of you, like where does the data sit? Like what I think you talked about the different tools, and I know I've done where you create your database at the back end, but where do you guys store? And then what is like sort of going forward, like the upkeep and all of that, ensuring that it's secure, that it grows, that you have access, etc.
So that was my biggest issue. And that was my hump during every transition. But I've already started building my second product using SnapDev, and I've already just gone ahead and defaulted out to Google Cloud Services. Living in Northwest Arkansas, there's that Walmart Amazon thing. So I'm not necessarily a huge AWS fan, but I am a huge Google fan. So I'm just connected my backend within my stage or my local host environment and my production environment to GCS and set up my Gemini API keys. And once again, these are all things, if you don't know how to do them, your friends at SnapDev will help you. Those guys, they're experts at this stuff. And they're like, oh, it's so simple, because it seems like such an awkward question. So they've certainly helped me kind of figure out how to prepare that back end infrastructure in a more resilient way.
Got it.
Yeah, I will
Susan?
say that's a question I had because like I work with some currently with some native organizations and tribes, and data sovereignty and information sovereignty is a really big issue. So just for the sake of the boot camp, I was like, where's everything hosted? Where's the data living? Kasim can share the default service they use is Render on
Okay.
render.com. For the future, that's something, for like a stage 2, I would need to consider, do I want to go to AWS or kind of where? But they set up a MongoDB. I think, it's like learning how to wire a lamp for the first time.
Right.
All the different components.
Yep. And the reason we walk you through how to set up MongoDB and Render is so that you can also learn what we're using and swap them out later on. So as we evolve the products, we're going to make it all in one with the ability to use your own cloud, use your own database, so you can swap pieces of it in and out. So when you go through this particular bootcamp, you can pretty much build anything after, because you know how each of these tools come together, or each of these products come together. So you could end up using AWS, you can end up using GCP, you can end up using any other cloud platform.
Got it. Okay, that's awesome. And then my second question is, have you had any folks from your cohort graduate to like multi-team development on their product, or most of the folks sort of like, this is what I'm going to build in? They're like founder or like individuals.
When you say multi-team development, do you mean them going on to hire engineers or something?
Or so I'm a volunteer. We have volunteers who are product leaders, right? So the idea would be like if Daniel had like a family intern who wanted to build out more functions and things like that, like have folks been able to, maybe this is a very standard question, but like bringing in more folks to develop on the application and on the product.
Yep, we've had a few folks. So we had someone from the first cohort. It's so interesting. So we have a few folks. For example, one person from the first cohort was the chief product officer of a company that had previously raised $20 million. He went through the cohort, was so surprised of how incredible and quickly he could build, went back to his CEO, and now the entire company is pivoting into the product he built, and now he's onboarding people and giving them access and stuff. So yeah, you have access to all your code if you want to get so on the tool itself. Currently there's no like multiplayer mode right now, but we will introduce that later. But the good news is that once you get used to these tools, we have a VS Code extension, and we teach you how to push your code to GitHub, so you can get someone else on board. They can pull your code, and they can start working on using the same tools that we're using, the same VS Code extension. Ha, for example, completely lies. Ha herself has worked with multiple people working on her projects. She worked on it herself. She got a new PM that worked on it. So yeah, lots of examples.
Yeah, they basically, as Custom mentioned, I had gotten the first MVP out, but I wanted to continue to work on the roadmap, but I just did not have any time to work on it.
Yeah.
And I had a PM kind of volunteer to like, before he landed his next role, like to volunteered some time to help me make progress on my product. And so all he did was he pulled the code down from GitHub into his local environment and started working on it with the help of SnapDev's engineers, that could kind of get him started, and then unblocked him every time he had some questions on it. And it worked out pretty well. So yeah, you can have multiple people working on the product. The main goal of the early bootcamp though is for you to like learn these tools, build some resilience and self-sufficiency, and feel confident that you could go and build anything post bootcamp. And then what you end up doing after that, I think, is everybody has sort of a different way of like making progress with their product or other products.
Awesome. Thank you guys. That's great.
All right. Any last questions? With that, I want to thank Daniel and Susan, first of all, for generously sharing this morning the incredible products that you built. And you just wrapped up the bootcamp, so congratulations. You should be very, very proud and excited to see where you go with your products. And thank you, everybody else, for joining us. Hopefully, we'll see you at the next bootcamp, which actually starts this Thursday. So, last bootcamp of the year. We'd love to have a few of you join us, and it's gonna be a great group of people. So we already have a bunch of really great product leaders and builders joining us. What Kasim didn't mention was that the ratio of like support and mentors and live instruction to participants is pretty incredibly high. So you won't find that in any other bootcamp.
It's almost 1-to-1.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and we'll see you guys in the bootcamp. See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.